Module 3, Architecture and Design, Set 3. Infrastructure as Code. Infrastructure as Code, IAC, is the process of managing and provisioning computer data centers through machine-readable definition files, rather than physical hardware configuration or interactive configuration tools. Secure coding techniques. Secure coding is the practice of developing computer software in a way that guards against the accidental introduction of security vulnerabilities. Defects, bugs and logic flaws are consistently the primary cause of commonly exploited software vulnerabilities. Normalization. Normalization is the process of organizing data in a database. This includes creating tables and establishing relationships between those tables according to rules designed both to protect the data and to make the database more flexible by eliminating redundancy and inconsistent dependency. Stored procedures. A stored procedure, also termed PROC, STORP, SPROC, STOPRO, stored PROC, store PROC, SP, or SP, is a subroutine available to applications that access a relational database management system, RDBMS. Such procedures are stored in the database data dictionary. Code signing. Code signing is the process of digitally signing executables and scripts to confirm the software author and guarantee that the code has not been altered or corrupted since it was signed. The process employs the use of a cryptographic hash to validate authenticity and integrity. Encryption. In cryptography, encryption is the process of encoding information. This process converts the original representation of the information, known as plain text, into an alternative form known as ciphertext. For technical reasons, an encryption scheme usually uses a pseudo-random encryption key generated by an algorithm. Server-side versus client-side. The server selects a data set, a server-side operation, and sends it back to the client. The client then analyzes the data, a client-side operation, and, when the analysis is complete, displays it to the user, as with Google Earth, and or transmits the results of calculations back to the server, as with SETI at home. Server-side. Server-side refers to operations that are performed by the server in a client-server relationship in a computer network. Client-side. Client-side refers to operations that are performed by the client in a client-server relationship in a computer network. Memory management. Memory management is a form of resource management applied to computer memory. The essential requirement of memory management is to provide ways to dynamically allocate portions of memory to programs at their request, and free it for reuse when no longer needed. Static code analyzers. Static program analysis is the analysis of computer software that is performed without actually executing programs, in contrast with dynamic analysis, which is analysis performed on programs while they are executing. Software inspections and software walkthroughs are also used in the latter case. Stress testing. Stress testing, sometimes called torture testing, is a form of deliberately intense or thorough testing used to determine the stability of a given system, critical infrastructure, or entity. It involves testing beyond normal operational capacity, often to a breaking point, in order to observe the results. Sandboxing. In computer security, a sandbox is a security mechanism for separating running programs, usually in an effort to mitigate system failures and or software vulnerabilities from spreading. Network access, the ability to inspect the host system or read from input devices are usually disallowed or heavily restricted. Model verification. In the context of computer simulation, verification of a model is the process of confirming that it is correctly implemented with respect to the conceptual model, it matches specifications and assumptions deemed acceptable for the given purpose of application. Compiled code. In computing, a compiler is a computer program that translates computer code written in one programming language, the source language, into another language, the target language. There are many different types of compilers which produce output in different useful forms. Runtime code. Runtime is a general term that refers to any library, framework, or platform that your code runs on. The C and C++ runtimes are collections of functions. The .NET runtime contains an intermediate language interpreter, a garbage collector, and more. Hypervisor. A hypervisor, also known as a virtual machine monitor or VMM, is software that creates and runs virtual machines, VMS. A hypervisor allows one host computer to support multiple guest VMS by virtually sharing its resources, such as memory and processing. VM sprawl avoidance. Virtualization sprawl is a phenomenon that occurs when the number of virtual machines, VMS, on a network reaches a point where the administrator can no longer manage them effectively. VM escape protection. Cloudburst Virtual Machine Escape is an exploit method that enables a guest-level virtual machine, VM, to attack its host. A VM escape gives the attacker access to the host operating system and all other virtual machines running on that host. Research firm CompTIA Korchinski Immunity Inc. Cloud storage. Cloud storage is a model of computer data storage in which the digital data is stored in logical pools, said to be on the cloud. People and organizations buy or lease storage capacity from the providers to store user, organization, or application data. Cloud deployment models. The NIST's definition of cloud computing describes IaaS as where the consumer is able to deploy and run arbitrary software, which can include operating systems and applications. To deploy their applications, cloud users install operating system images and their application software on the cloud infrastructure. PaaS, Platform as a Service. Platform as a Service, PaaS, or Application Platform as a Service, PaaS, or platform-based service is a category of cloud computing services that provides a platform allowing customers to develop, run, and manage applications without the complexity of building and maintaining the infrastructure typically associated. Managed by provider. A managed IT services provider, MSP, is most often information technology, IT, services provider that manages and assumes responsibility for providing a defined set of services to its clients either proactively or as the MSP, not the client, determines that services are needed. IaaS, Infrastructure as a Service. Infrastructure as a Service, IaaS, are online services that provide high-level APIs used to dereference various low-level details of underlying network infrastructure like physical computing resources, location, data partitioning, scaling, security, backup, etc. Managed by provider. A managed IT services provider, MSP, is most often information technology, IT, services provider that manages and assumes responsibility for providing a defined set of services to its clients either proactively or as the MSP, not the client, determines that services are needed.